Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called Discover Timeless Body Qigong, practices for slowing aging, boosting your energy, and balancing hormones for ageless health and beauty. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network, and I've really been fascinated by to explore more of the world of Qigong and particularly new evolutions and how they can be applied to enhancing our health and well-being. There's thousands of years of history of Qigong practice in China, and it's now really emerged onto the global stage as one of the most effective ways to harmonize our body, to synchronize our nervous system, to really prevent aging and keep a supple, healthy body. We're going to get to explore some really fascinating dimensions of Qigong practice with our featured speaker today. Her name is Deborah Davis. She's a licensed acupuncturist. She's women's Qigong and sexuality coach, as well as a medical intuitive. So Deborah, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hi, Stephen. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Great. Well, we're going to dive in. We're going to get to do some practices together as well. And I also want to let everyone know that we're going to have a brand new program with Deborah called Timeless Body Qigong, balance hormones and revitalize your energy for ageless health and beauty. So more to come with Deborah, and we'll share more about it towards the end of the hour. So Deborah, why don't we begin our journey here today with a little bit about your story of becoming a Qigong practitioner and teacher, and really what brought you into this practice, particularly focus on the anti-aging properties as well.
Well, what brought me into it is I got first introduced to Qigong in acupuncture school in the late 80s. And there I met my teacher, Dr. Ren Shu Wang, who is a Qigong master and also a surgeon. And I really wanted to learn Qigong, and he just wasn't going to teach people and in the school. So I bugged him, as the I Ching says, persevered further. And I bugged him for almost a year. And then finally, he taught me one exercise. And this exercise was to hug the tree. You've probably seen this stance, and you go into a deep squat. And I had to hold it for over half an hour before he would take me on as his apprentice. And it took me 4 months. And after that, I was sweating and almost faded a few times, but I was really strong because the stances really build your immune system, and my thighs were like steel afterwards. And after that, I started working with him and was his apprentice, worked with him for over 30 years. He just passed this year. And but it's been a great relationship. And what really got me excited about Qigong is we ran a Qigong clinic in Santa Barbara in the early 1990s. And then at that time, even acupuncture wasn't mainstream, so people came to us as the last resort. And there I just saw miraculous healings. People came in with autoimmune system issues and infertility, cysts, chronic fatigue, and we got a lot of cancer. And people who came to us some of them only were given 2 months to live. And so what was amazing is they just did this Qigong practice, and a lot of them healed themselves. So I saw one miraculous healing after another. One woman I want to share, she came in and she was literally given 2 months to live. She had breast cancer that had metastasized throughout her body. And just by doing these Qigong exercises that we gave her, within 6 months, she totally cured herself. And what was great, after 20 years, we got a letter from her saying that she was working full time to send her daughter through college. And so it's always great to hear that people are still continuing their healing journey and how powerful Qigong works. And I'd like to share one more thing, because when I was in my early 30s, I was told by an orthopedic surgeon that I wouldn't be able to walk by the time I was 40. And I definitely didn't want that prognosis. So I had smashed my ankle when I was a kid. I broke my tibia and fibula. And so it just never healed correctly. And Dr. Wang, I was falling down a lot during acupuncture school because my ankle had gotten so unstable. So during that clinic time, he actually, with his Qi, he moved my ligaments and tendons back into place, and then gave me a whole practice to strengthen my ankle. And 35 years later, I haven't had to go through surgery, and I've been fine. So personally, I've used the practice for so many things and in my own clinic as an acupuncturist and practicing Qigong as well for over 20 years. I've just seen so many people heal themselves, and especially when people were hopeless and didn't have any other way to turn. And Qigong really activates that potential of our inner healer. And I love that about Qigong. So that's why I've dedicated my life to it.
Well, there's definitely some miraculous stories, including your own there. So you're talking about how your teacher was sort of directing his chi to help to rearrange things. So maybe talk a little bit about the how. Like, how do you understand after 30 years of practice that Qigong can really alter things in such a positive way within the body? What is it that's happening?
Well, it's a mystery. I mean, I still look at acupuncture and think it's just all a mystery, really. But Qigong has been used for thousands of years, and there are three components. So there's deep breathing, what we call dantian breathing, deep abdominal breathing. And then there are movements which activate the acupuncture meridians. And then there's stances which help build our strength and our immune system. And then what's really important in Qigong and makes it different than yoga or even Tai Chi is that intention is really important. And there's an old Chinese saying that where you put your mind, the Qi will flow. And so where you put your intention, the Qi is able to flow to that area. So in Qigong, what we're doing is we're using our breath, and certainly since the pandemic, the breath has gotten very popular, of how it regulates the vagus nerve and increases our capacity for health and longevity. And but of course, the Chinese have been doing this for thousands of years. But what we're doing in Qigong is to use our breath, activate the different meridians in our system, and then harness our own Qi energy in our dantians, which are like the cauldron of energy that we hold for longevity and for healing. And then in the way that I teach, that you learn to use your breath and your intention and attention to direct the Qi to different parts of your body for healing. And I've used it, as far as the ankle, I used my Qi, I breathed into my belly and then sent the energy down my leg and to envelop my whole ankle for Qi healing. And so, it's still, that's what I love about it. It's still a mystery, but it works. And I've been using it for over 30 years and have seen people that don't even exercise use it, and they don't even believe in it either, which is really funny, and it still works. So, but of course, it takes dedication, it takes practice. It's just a deeper way to go into ourselves, to really know our bodies, and to activate that potential of healing that we all know that we have within ourselves, but we just don't utilize.
Let's dive a little bit into women's Qigong. I know that's been an area of expertise for you, and how there's actually some different focal points or different ways to move, breathe, and focus our energy that can be particularly beneficial for women. So let's talk a little bit about why that is and dive into some of what you've learned.
Yeah, well, the Qigong that I teach is basically, I specialize in women's Qigong. And people always ask me, well, how is it different? Well, first we have an energy center that's different, and it's called the uterine palace, and it's right above our pubic bone. And this energy center is so potent because it helps to slow the decline of hormones. It increases our libido, and then also really helps to help heal reproductive and urinary issues. And so it's such a potent energy center for women. And then, throughout our lives, women are very intimately connected to our blood and also to our hormones, from our first menstruation through to menopause and perimenopause, where, everything starts to change. The women go through a whole passage in their body and their hormones, and then even in postmenopausal years. So I believe that women should not should, but it's important to change your Qigong practice as you age, because a 40-year-old woman has really different concerns than a 70-year-old. And when we're young, we want to build our blood because we're menstruating, and also move what we call in Chinese medicine stagnant qi, which can manifest as menstrual cramps or PMS. And then when you get into your 40s, it's a really good time with perimenopause and menopause to nourish your yin, which is the moistening aspect of the body. And also when you get into menopause, to start to clear the heat, which can show up as anxiety, insomnia, hot flashes, night sweats. And even in postmenopausal women, which is where I'm at now, it's important still to nourish the blood, to keep our hearts healthy, and also nourish the blood and yin for our joints and to keep our bones strong. So we're very intimately connected through this whole cycle. I think women really go on an epic journey with our blood and our hormones. And the other aspect of women's Qigong, which is important, is breast health. And so I know in the US, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the US, 1 out of 7 or 8 women get breast cancer. So it's really imperative that we take care of our breast health through self-massage, unless you have breast cancer, and Qigong to keep the Qi and the blood moving throughout the chest. And so these are the elements that I think are the most important: to shift and change your practice as you age, to activate the uterine palace so you can be active and sexually active all of your life, and then also keep your breasts healthy.
That's an intriguing term. There's a lot in what you just shared, but uterine palace, I'd love for you to dive into a little bit more. What does that mean, and how Qigong kind of works with the uterus like that?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is its energy. So for women who have had hysterectomies and don't have a uterus anymore, they still have the energetic blueprint for that area. And I'm going to be sharing today, after we talk, the uterine palace practice. And that's probably the best way to understand it, because is to feel it. And when I teach my retreats and we're activating this area above our pubic bone, most women just go, this just feels so much better, like, because we're already rooted in our pelvis, with the ability to have a child. Our energy is lower than men's. And so it's just a natural feeling and a place to activate. And as I said before, it helps the hormones, urinary issues, reproductive, and libido. And so it's a very important point too. It's not just a point, it's really the whole pelvic bowl, but it's specifically around the point itself, is specifically around the uterus, and the lower abdomen.
Great. Well, I think now would be a great time to dive into, I know you want to take us on a more extended practice journey, so that we've got a little bit of context now, and then whatever else you need to set up some practice time where we can learn from you.
Okay, so the uterine palace. I just want to say, Stephen, if you're doing this exercise, you can breathe into the lower dantian, which is a couple inches below the belly button. And since I know you've been studying Qigong as well, you can bring that energy back into the kidneys. And so that will help with urinary and also prostate health. But for women, to find the uterine palace, what we do is you put your thumbs in your belly button and then make a heart. And where your index fingers fall here, this is the uterine palace. So let's just rub this for a moment and bring your intention down into the uterine palace. So let's breathe, do some deep Qigong breath into the palace. So with your fingers here, I want you to expand your belly out when you're inhaling, and exhaling and contract just gently underneath your fingers there. So try to bring the breath down into the uterine palace. Feel yourself grounded, your feet rooted into the earth, Your shoulders relaxed, deep belly breathing. And then let's do a very simple pelvic tilt. This helps to activate the uterine palace. So what we do is to keep your hands here because it really helps to bring your attention down to your lower abdomen. And when you're scooping forward, you want to inhale and bring the energy up into the uterine palace, exhale and relax. So when you're tucking your pelvis, scoop it forward. On the inhale, exhale back. Imagine the energy coming up to energize this potent energy center. Exhale, relax. And then just rub it for a moment. So different ways that you would use that are to help slow the decline of hormones. And if you have menstrual cramps, that's really good. You can even use it for infertility and to increase your libido. Or if you're dry in menopause, it helps to moisten the feminine fluids. And then the last one I'll do is called drawing the essence from the well. So what we want to do is to pull up the yin energy. The yin is the moist earth, nurturing energy, and we want to pull it up and bring it into our uterine palace. And so stand about 3 feet apart. And what we're going to do is to just squat down, whatever's comfortable for you, and then inhale, bringing the energy up here. Now, you don't want to stick your butt out in the back. You want to keep your perineum, which is the musculature between your anus and your vagina, facing the earth, because we're taking in that energy of the yin up into our whole feminine area. So exhale down, inhale, pull the energy up into your uterine palace. Exhale, inhaling. Imagine bringing that moistening yin energy, chi, right up here. Relaxing down. Let's do one more. And then I like to rub this area. So different ways that you can use this exercise. If you have incontinence, you can imagine stimulating the yin meridians and on the inside of the leg and feel the energy come up the inside of your legs to here. And in the 7-week course that I'll be teaching, I'm going to go into more depth of how you would use it for like low libido versus urinary infections and the different things, or just wanting more sexual desire. So there's, refinements that we'll get into. But that's the beginning. And I also like to end with just holding the uterine palace and holding my heart and just connecting these energy centers. Breathing your heart energy down into your uterine palace, and your uterine palace energy coming up to fill your heart. Connecting these energy centers. Feeling love and appreciation for our bodies, for our feminine nature.
Well, thank you for that. And I was intrigued with what you were sharing a little bit about the different yin meridians. And it seems like it starts to overlap a bit with acupuncture and understanding where
Mhm.
qualities of energy flow in the body. And maybe you could share a little bit more about that from Qigong perspective.
Yeah, well, as an acupuncturist, I think it's really important for women to understand the basics of Chinese medicine because that's what Qigong is based, at least medical Qigong is based on. And so the yin meridians are very important for the women, the yin ones that come up the leg are the liver, the spleen, and the kidneys. And all of these are really important in reproductive health and women's health. And so by energizing them, by breathing in the yin and imagining, in the beginning you have to imagine energy coming up your legs because you don't feel it. But once you're practicing Qigong, you start to feel the energy come up and fill your different energy centers like the uterine palace. And so, as I said before, Qigong is based on stimulating and activating the different meridians. And so to understand, have a basic understanding where they are is really helpful.
Yeah, you sort of were also pointing to a little bit of how Qigong practice evolves over time and so different seasons of life, and maybe share a little bit more philosophically how we have to balance our system and energy in different phases in different ways.
I talked a little bit about women's because we go through so many different cycles. And then also in Chinese medicine, we have the 5 elements. I really love the elements because it's a way to connect your body with the rhythms of nature. So now we're in fall, and fall is the time for the lungs, and it's the metal element, and this is the time to really work on the lungs and the large intestine. So that's when I do my 6 healing sounds for the lung, just to release any sadness and grief and really bring in better immune system, more courage into your body and into your whole well-being. And it also has a spiritual discernment connected with the metal element. What I love about the Chinese that they figured out that our bodies and our health go along with the rhythm. So in fall, we're starting to pull in our energy like harvesting, right? And if you're a gardener. And then in winter, that's when we're not so exuberant. We want to conserve our energy. We're more quiet and insular. And that's important because it's the time of the kidneys, and the kidneys and adrenals are the same in Chinese medicine. And then in spring, that's when the wood element, when things start to grow and we start to open up our energies with more liver Qigong. And then in summer is our full exuberance in the fire element. And that is when we feel the most joy in heart, and our heart is open. And so what we want to do is to create this rhythm and to be cognizant of what season we're in, and to take that into consideration in our Qigong practice.
I know that one of the areas that is really important for disease prevention is just moving stagnant qi, and I wonder if you could share a little bit about why it's so important to circulate qi and so that it doesn't stagnate and create challenges.
Well, in Chinese medicine, disease and pain come from stagnant energy or blood, but mostly stagnant. It starts first as stagnant qi and then can affect other systems. And so that's to have health, we need to have our qi smoothly flowing throughout our body. It's just like with water, when you have a pond or something that's been backed up and then it starts to stagnate and gets, algae and different things and bacteria. And that's what happens in our body. So we need to keep it open and moving. And Qigong's all about moving your liver qi and the qi throughout your body. We want to keep that moving. And you can always tell, especially as you get older, that if you've been sitting a long time, your energy gets stagnant, and especially with all these Zoom calls, right? And then you get up, it's just like, oh gosh, I really need to move. I think everybody felt that with the pandemic. So it's like, get me out of here, get me into nature. Let's move our qi. Because that's how we feel healthier, we're happier, and we're more aligned with our true essence and with nature.
Makes a lot of sense. It's certainly a great practice for the modern era of so much sitting. So let's talk also a little bit more about regulating hormones and how the practice specifically can work on specific hormones.
Well, the Chinese don't really talk that much about hormones, but we work with the liver and the kidney energies. And we also work with, well, the uterine palace is the main way to work with the hormones and to balance them. And then the 6 healing sounds I find are really important for this, because especially if we talk about menopause and during that passage for women, it's a really hormonal time. It's a tumultuous time for a lot of women. So Qigong, the 6 healing sounds, are what I did through my passage and only had 2 hot flashes because they're so powerful. They've been used for over 2,000 years in China. The old Taoist doctors discovered that they're tones that actually resonate with the organ systems. And so they developed these exercises in Qigong that are detoxifying, and they work, what I love about them, they work on the emotions and the physical body as well. And so working with hormones, a lot of emotions come up, and that's where I feel that the 6 healing sounds are probably the most potent to keep hormonal balance along with the uterine palace work, because it works a lot with the emotions and releasing any excess heat or the stagnation in your body.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, I think this would now maybe be a great time to do the 6 healing sounds.
Well, I'm just going to do one of them today, which is the triple burner, which is also called triple heater and Sanjiao. And this was the one exercise that I primarily do and give to my patients for hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, and anxiety. And also you can use it for high blood pressure. This is not just women's Qigong. I give this to everybody. But they're so powerful. I want to share one story, actually. I had a woman that came to one of my classes, a retreat I was leading. And the first night, we don't do too much because everybody's been traveling all day. And so I just led them in this exercise I'm going to do right now. And we only did like 6 or 12 repetitions. And the next day, one woman shared in the group that for the first time in 6 years, she didn't have hot flashes and night sweats. And so that was really miraculous just by doing this one exercise. So that's why I wanted to share it today. So what we do is we stand in Qigong stance, which is about hip width or shoulder width apart. Your knees are always just slightly bent and shoulders relaxed. And I'll show you the movements first, and then we'll add the sound. The sound is, so you purse your lips and make the sound like you're saying snake. Now the triple burner, when we're doing this sound, we're regulating the heat throughout our body. And also the triple burner is very important for immunity. And so the heat can come up as hot, as I said before, hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, anxiety, high blood pressure, rashes over your body. So we want to release the heat out of the body. And then when you're inhaling, just imagine bringing in harmony into your whole system. So first, we want to stand and take a deep breath. And then on the exhale, you want your palms flat, facing the heavens, fingers together, and bring your palms right underneath your chin. Then you look up and then come down to your heart, because the triple burner is associated with the heart and fire element. And then you want to release anything that's burdening your heart. This is the end of the exhalation. When you drop your hands, you want to inhale. So let's do 6 repetitions. We usually do the 6 healing sounds in 6 or 12 repetitions, and that's all. So first, feel yourself rooted and grounded into the earth. Take a deep breath in from the belly, and all the breathing is through the The inhalations are through the nose, and then exhaling, making the sounds. So where you finish your exhalation, then inhale as you drop your palms. Just releasing any anxiety, any heat in your body. Do it one more time. And just close your eyes for a moment and just breathe into your whole body. And just one note, when I was talking about before how the movements stimulate the acupuncture meridians, so that's why it's important to keep your palms flat, because it's stimulating the triple burner meridian that goes up like this. So that's why the movement looks like this, okay? What I love about this is you can do it anytime during the day. You can practice these before bed for insomnia, or in the morning. You can do it lying down, seated. I even did it on the airplane the other day when we were going through a lot of turbulence. I was just like, and you can also do them subvocally. But you can practice the 6 healing sounds anywhere, and they're so important and very powerful. That's what I love about them.
I love that. I love this. The sound itself just has something. It really it does have an impact on your energy field, and so really cool. So maybe I know we don't have time to go into all the other healing sounds, but maybe give a sense for how those are utilized in the Qigong practice.
Yeah, well, I do want to give one example because they're so potent. And years ago in the 90s, I used to, when I had my acupuncture practice in Santa Barbara, California, I used to teach Qigong classes, and 150 people would come, so they were intimate, and they'd be in big auditoriums. And so I taught the 6 healing sounds one time, and then 2 months later, this man came to my practice, and he had had asthma all of his life. He was overweight. He was in his late 60s. He'd been on medications and inhalers, and he wanted to go over the exercises and share his experience. So he was showing me the exercises. He didn't remember anything, right, except the one that he really needed, which was the lung exercise, the lung 6 healing sound. And so he practiced that for 2 months and was off all inhalers and all his medication and healed his asthma. And he didn't even exercise. He'd never been introduced to Qigong. He just did this one exercise of the lung 6 healing sound and healed his asthma. So that's how potent it can be. So we use them for the different organ systems. So in the spring, the liver, we use that for bringing gentleness more in our body and releasing depression and anger and any stagnant chi or any place where you're frustrated. The liver's really good for the 6 healing sound for that. In the heart, we use it for cardiac issues, high blood pressure, anything affecting the heart, and also to bring in more joy and to release anxiety. And the spleen is used for letting go of worry and overthinking, which is one of my issues. And then what we want to bring in is contentment and harmony into our system and just feeling grounded in our environment and our bodies. And then we have the metal, as I said, which is to release sadness and grief, and that the metal elements, the lungs. And then the kidneys is about letting go of fear and bringing in trust and faith or whatever counteracts fear for you. So that's how we used on like the 5-element cycle.
Really fascinating. I love how you integrate all these different pieces together. And I know you also do work with breath work and acupressure and self-massage. Maybe talk a little bit about how you can really round out your practice of Qigong with other self-care techniques.
Yeah, so in the 7-week course, what I'm going to be teaching is, Qigong traditionally is not just the exercises and stance and breathing. It also incorporates self-massage. So I'm going to teach a really lovely facial massage and then a whole body massage that you can do in 10 minutes to just relax and de-stress. And it's a great adjunct to your Qigong practice. But in Qigong, there's also mudras, and which are hand positions to elicit different feelings in your body or spiritual states. And then there are the sounds. There's acupressure. I really enjoy teaching acupressure points. Actually, if we have time, I want to teach one because my guides told me this week that somebody that's watching this class is going to need this in the next month. So, and I think everybody should know this acupressure points because it's first aid to bring somebody out of unconsciousness. And it's called Governing Vessel 26. So if you go right in the middle of your upper lip and your nose, right here, you press in, and this will bring somebody out of unconsciousness. And it also is great for restless leg syndrome and acute back sprain and different indications that I'll share in the class. But when my mom had she had a heart attack, and it was my first month of acupuncture school. I had no idea how to use the needles. And I took a needle and stuck it in here because I really wanted to see if acupuncture worked. And I stuck it in, and within 30 seconds, she came to, and the cardiologist at the hospital said that I saved her life. So I think everybody really needs to know this point to bring somebody out of unconsciousness.
It's really fascinating. Well, there's so many different levels that we can weave together. So I want to spend some time now talking more explicitly about your upcoming program, since it really is going to be such a great opportunity to learn these practices in a way that also is specifically tailored to sort of concerns around aging and health, and to really slow aging and boost energy and balance hormones, all those good things. So the program that Deborah is going to be teaching is called Timeless Body Qigong. Balance hormones and revitalize your energy for ageless health and beauty. You can find it laid out in detail at Timeless Body Qigong. That's Qigong, timelessbodyqigong.com. It's a 7-week program. There's no prerequisites. You don't have to be a practitioner already. It's really going to lay those foundations for you. So, Deborah, I'd love for you to share in your own words about the upcoming program and what you're excited about to bring forward and what people are going to really receive from taking the journey with you.
Well, I'm really excited about this class because I actually designed a new form called the Timeless Body Qigong. And what I was contemplating is I wanted to create a form that women can use as they age and that addresses certain issues that I see most women have, or many women, not most. And so I created movements to keep the shoulders and also the hips supple and flexible. I have movements for strengthening the bones for like osteopenia and osteoporosis, and then of course uterine palace work, and then other movements to just create more vitality in your whole body and also to feel more relaxed. So I'm really excited about sharing this form because it's new and it's so relaxing.
So module 1 is called Qigong Breathing for Health, Vitality, and Stress Reduction.
This is really the foundation. I'll go over foundations of Qigong so you can have a successful Qigong practice. So that's the stances, talk about the different energy centers, which we call the dantians, and focus mostly on the breath, because the breath in the Qigong that I teach is so important because it activates your energy. And we'll be doing exercises to feel the energy of the earth and also the heavenly qi, and to begin to feel the qi in our own bodies. And I also want to include some guided meditations and some breathing exercises for relaxation and to stimulate the parasympathetic system.
Module 2, Qigong's 3 treasures of health and longevity, Jing, Qi, and Shen.
As an acupuncturist, I think everybody should know and understand the different essences that they're cultivating. So the Jing is what we do mostly in, that's the sexual foundational energy of our body. We use that mostly in sexual Qigong. The Qi, of course, is the energy in everything, and the Shen is our spiritual connection to the divine. So we're going to be learning more about those and feeling them in our bodies.
Module 3, activate the female energy center, the uterine palace, to reawaken sensuality and slow hormonal decline.
So that's going to be a deep dive into the uterine palace, and I already showed you some of it today, but we're going to go into deeper breathing and also indications of how you use the different uterine palace exercises for things like urinary infections, low libido, moistening your vagina, and things like that. So we're going to get very specific.
Module 4, de-stress in 5 minutes with self-massage to calm the nervous system and nurture your entire being.
So this is something that everybody loves in retreats because there's something so wonderful about just massaging yourself and taking the time, especially as women, to just nurture and appreciate our bodies. So I'm going to teach a face massage, include the acupressure points for computer stress and allergies and things like that. It's a great companion for your everyday life to just de-stress and relax.
Module 5, Qigong movements to ease the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause, including hot flashes, night sweats, anxiety, and insomnia.
Well, this will be a heated class, and especially with women that are in the throes of menopause. I'm going to be sharing the 6 healing sounds that I did for menopause, where I only had 2 hot flashes through my passage, and then just share the deeper aspects, the emotional aspects too, of what we want to release, so we can really take in and heal ourselves. And the Chinese called menopause the second spring. So what do you need to let go of so you can bring in the second spring and blossom into this new aspect and new season of your life?
Module 6, first aid acupressure points to address pain, heart issues, digestive problems, and more.
Yes, so I already taught you one, and we're going to go into more specifics, a couple of first aid ones, and then mostly acupressure points that help with the common issues I feel women have, like heart arrhythmias, palpitations, digestive issues, menstrual cramps, headaches, that type of thing, and more.
And finally, Module 7, practice your entire daily Qigong form for self-nurturing, renewed health, and a profound sense of well-being.
So this will be putting it all together because I really want you to feel that you have the Qigong settled in your body. So we'll go through the warm-ups, the Qigong, the 6 healing sounds, the uterine palace practice. So you really have the breadth of a whole practice that you'll have for life.
Well, it's such a profound program, and it's really a blessing that you have the background as an acupuncturist and understand the flow of the energies and health and vitality in a different level than even most Qigong practitioners. So really great program, and I think it's going to be particularly beneficial for anyone facing different challenges of aging. So really great stuff. Again, the whole program is laid out in detail at timelessbodyqigong.com, timelessbodyqigong.com.
So I'll share a few more other things about it. So not only do you get the 7 90-minute live sessions, which is going to include time to ask questions and do exercises together, really experience the power of the group working together. You also get recordings, both video and audio, of every session, as well as word-for-word transcripts, which is really helpful to go back and study and work with anything that you might have missed. There's weekly exercises for home. There's a Facebook community that really deepen your experience and a place where you can really share your experiences with others.
So in addition to the 7 90-minute live classes that you're going to have with Deborah, you're also going to get some bonuses to enhance your journey as well. There is a bonus called Qigong and Self-Massage for Breast Health. That's a PDF excerpt from the book Women's Qigong for Health and Longevity. Deborah, you want to share a little bit more about that?
So yes, the breast health, I really feel is important. That's why I included it. Because, as I said before, so many women get breast cancer. And we can avoid this if we do simple just breast massage and also Qigong to activate the Qi throughout our chest. Because in Chinese medicine, it's believed that breast cancer begins with just stagnant Qi that moves into, cysts and then moves into tumors. So there is a progression. But if we can be aware of the health of our own breasts and our own breast tissue, then we can stay healthy throughout our lives.
Oh, wonderful. In addition, there's also a video teaching from Deborah called Dynamic Woman, Be Strong, Supple, and Sexy. Would you share a little bit more about that?
So this is the one that I actually, in my book, I designed it for younger women, but I have women up into their late 70s still doing this practice. And it's more dynamic than the one that I will be teaching. That's why a lot of younger women like it. And what it does is has movements to help prevent breast cancer, to work with strength and stamina, and also some of the one movement slims the waist and helps with balance. So it's a great, more dynamic Qigong form. I do them all. I change my Qigong with the seasons and what's really going on with my life. So I do the dynamic woman when I want to feel more alive, strong, and balanced in my life.
Beautiful. And in addition, there's one extra bonus that folks get when you sign up today. And this is our way to encourage you to really tune in and make a choice while you have the most connection with what Deborah is sharing here today. And if you choose to move forward, you're going to get 7 popular sessions from our Qigong Global Summit. These are powerful Qigong practices from world experts, and really gives you a way to sample some of the other teachers out there, really distill some of their most important practices for your life. So you can see them on the page laid out in terms of the who's in that package. It's all at timelessbodyqigong.com, and you're going to get those 7 bonus sessions when you sign up by midnight tonight.
So we've kept the investment for this program very accessible. It's just 3 payments of $128, or you can save 10% when you pay in full upfront with one payment of $349. If you can't make the live times, though, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well.
So we're really excited for this program. We know that it's going to be so much benefit. Just as some of the stories Deborah has shared about the remarkable healings that have been activated very quickly for people is just a great testimonial of the power of this work. So you're in great hands. Deborah's got a lot of great background with people teaching this work, and I think is really good at synthesizing the best thinking and practice and really applying that to your health and well-being. So you're going to be blessed with a lot of great practices and a wonderful community and really wise guidance from Deborah. So again, you can find all the details at timelessbodyqigong.com, timelessbodyqigong.com. So Deborah, we still have a few minutes left. Anything that's still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering going deeper into this beautiful work with you?
Well, I'm just really excited about teaching for Shift and also just sharing my wisdom and being in a circle of women. So that's always so powerful for me. And I want to make it intimate because I know we're on Zoom and it's not like sitting in a circle together, but we're going to be doing practices and breakout groups, and I'm going to give you prompts so you really think about what's going on in your life, what do you want to let go of, so you can really blossom into this second spring of your life. So I hope you'll join me for this nourishing and healing Qigong journey together, and I hope to see you in October.
Well, thank you for the warm wisdom that you've shared, Deborah, and all the life experience that's allowed you to really distill out these important practices for health and well-being, for menopause, for women, for all sorts of good benefits in our body, mind, and spirit. So again, if you'd like to go further with Deborah, you are welcome to do so at timelessbodyqigong.com, timelessbodyqigong.com, and you're going to get that special bonus of the top 7 Qigong Global Summit sessions when you sign up by midnight tonight Pacific time. So it's a good reason to sign up right away. So with that said, thank you, Deborah, for a beautiful time together. And thank you all for joining us, and look forward to seeing many of you in this upcoming program. Many blessings.
Thanks, Stephen.